Hello there, welcome to Andy's channel. You may have noticed that I am not Andy, I am Cam, although I do look a lot like Andy. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to make friends when you move to a new city. Big, new place, scary, you don't have any friends. I'm here to help you. I've recently done this myself. About 2.5 months ago even, I moved to Montreal, where I'm still at in the moment. In terms of moving to new cities, you could consider me something of a veteran. I have lived in Australia. I have lived in several parts of the UK, my home country. I've lived in Canada now, in Vancouver and Montreal. I've lived in Mexico, in Guadalajara and Mexico City. I've also traveled as a backpacker around America, around Europe. Backpacking is one thing though. I have moved to cities to live there for 6 months or more on several occasions now. I think it's about 6 or 7 occasions I've moved specifically to a city to live there and therefore build a social circle as well. Because, you know, if you don't build a social circle, your life, you know, it can be a little bit shittier and a bit lonelier if it takes you a while to build a new social circle. So I want to give guys who are doing this a chance to hit the ground running when it comes to making friends and making the best life possible if they really want to move. And I know loads of guys in our audience really want to move. When we get guys come into the coaching group, it's like maybe 1 out of 4 guys is seriously considering moving to a new city or a new country. Usually it's a city. Like, we've had a lot of guys who come from America. Most of our clients are in America. They want to move from their shitty town or the city they don't really like anymore to the other side of the country. You know, from like Washington to LA was one we did recently. One of our coaches was living in the sticks and wanted to move to a city in Alaska. He was moving from, like, you know, out in the middle of nowhere to Anchorage. So a lot of movement. It's typically a port of call for a lot of self-improvement guys. I can just change my location and maybe my life will be better. Who knows? Before I go into all my methods of making friends in a new city, I would like to point out that you are allowed to check you already have friends in a city, and you are also allowed to specifically move somewhere where you already know people. I'm making this video because that seems to be a barrier for some guys. They just don't know enough people, so they don't want to move somewhere. But for a lot of people, I think they move cities because they already know people who are there. So don't throw that out of the window just because you're in this zone of, like, I want to be Mr. Social, I want to meet loads of people, I want to go to the city and just form an elite group of people. You will, I assume, probably already have contacts in some cities that you could move to. So that is a decent plus for the plus column if you can find these cities where you already know people. And the other thing you can do is message out to your existing network, your existing people that you know, within the communities as well, within our community, just in the comment section if you want, but there are also forums that are connected to us. You can ask if there is anyone in those areas and will they be willing to meet up. You can also do this in, well, we teach a lot of dating and that kind of stuff. So there are like wingman groups and game groups, etc. You can meet people that way. Just put out feelers before you go somewhere. Message around friends and family. Do you know anyone in this area? Would they be cool to meet up and, like, you know, give me a lay of the land? That's the first thing I would do. You don't have to completely bank on just being Mr. Social and running away with it when you get there. But assuming you don't know anyone and your family connections, your social connections don't know anyone either, but you still want to really move to that city, I'm going to go through how I do it. So when I land in a new city, I almost always go to a hostel first for a week or so. Now, I love hostels. I've done several videos before about why I love hostels on this channel as well. Specifically for younger guys who haven't learned how to be greatly social. They haven't gone and traveling. They haven't gone out and survived on their own in the world. It's a really good way, an affordable way of going out to learn how to meet friends, see new places, and learn how to be out on your own in the world in an area that isn't your hometown. I think they're amazing for that. They're also amazing for when you first land in a city, because they tend to pick up other people who are also just landing in that city to move there. It's not just backpackers. It's not just young people living their best life. It's also some older people now. That's the crowds that I'm starting to see. I'm starting to see more older people in hostels. And as I suspected, landing in Montreal, there were a bunch of people in the hostels who were also doing what I was doing, which was scouting the city for places to stay and using the hostels first. They're a lot less, like, lonelier than, say, an Airbnb. And they're usually a bit cheaper. Sometimes they can be same kind of price as an Airbnb. But a 1 week isn't going to kill you typically, and there are usually fairly cheap hostels around the city. So that's what I did here, and I met 4 or 5 people that made up the bulk of my social circle for the first few months. A few people that were more transient, so they were only here for a couple of months, but a couple of people that I still talk to and still hang out with who did the same thing as me and get long-term leases in the city. I'm going to keep banging on about hostels until you guys all go to them. especially you young men. If you're like 20 to 27, go and do a hostel stint. You don't have to go for very long. You can go for like a weekend to a random city nearby and just see what I'm talking about. Go to a hotspot like Miami. See how fucking cool it is. It's really good. You'll have a lot of fun, especially when you're younger. You'll meet a lot of girls. You'll meet a lot of cool guys that you can hang out with as well. It's sick. Like, just do it once, okay? I'm not going to stop banging on this drum. Okay, the next section is using online groups, and this includes things like Meetup and Bumble BFF. But I'll to be honest, I don't use those. Andy uses those. It's not really my thing. Instead, what I like to do is try and find meetups on like Facebook around things that are my interests. And this year, I've been going to a lot of soccer events, and I've been going to UFC fight nights as well. And so you can find online sometimes meetups that are happening for these events. And it's easier with soccer because soccer has a lot of clubs, like supporters clubs. And so for me, it's really easy to find the supporters clubs. There are always usually people online trying to advertise things, and these meetups tend to be pretty good, especially for when I get to a new city and I want to meet people in like bars. Tends to be quite a good thing when you go to like sporting event meetups. Sporting event meetups are, for me, quite a good one. Obviously, you're not going to meet... I'm going to get sexist as fuck. You're not going to meet a lot of girls at these events as opposed to guys. They're going to be very guy heavy, but you do want, a good run of guy friends, and bonding over these sort of events pretty good. I'm imagining you can do stuff like, if the more nerdy among you, I like D&D. I like listening to D&D podcasts. You could do stuff like that. You could do gaming meetups, those sort of things. The stuff you would do in like your own town, you can do it in a new town. It's just about, building up the social courage to go in when you don't know anyone, and going to these events that are maybe a little bit more commercialized, a little bit more sometimes these events are trying to sell you something at the end or whatever. There's still a good chance to meet up with people. I've been trying to go to more like business conventions and meetups as well lately, and it's almost worth sometimes for the networking reasons, just paying for those tickets and going to them, and you just do it for networking reasons. So there are things you can do via online, via these meetup groups, that kind of stuff. I have used them. I just focus more on sporting events because it's more fun and casual. I tend to meet, other English people abroad doing that sort of thing. But don't just do exactly what I did. Extrapolate to like the stuff that you like, and try and find if there's any pages online, if there's anything on Instagram or Facebook or I don't know where else you go. Those are probably the main ones. And they are like advertising meetups and groups and stuff which you would find interesting. You can just join the groups, chat to people. I'm sure there'll be like in-person meetups, or you can propose in-person meetups. You go into a group that you're interested in that's specific to a local area, and you pitch meeting people up. That's all you have to do. I know it sounds simple. That stuff can be quite scary for some people, I know. So have at it if you want to. You don't have to meet up with online people if you don't want to. I have other things that you can do that are more in person. Okay, something that I do because I always wanted to do this when I was younger, and I learned how to do it so that I could always do it whenever I traveled anywhere, is going out on my own. Going out on my own just to go and view like a nightlife, walk into bars, walk into clubs potentially, just chat to random people. It was so important to me that I learned how to do this, not just from like an approaching perspective, because obviously when you're younger and you're a guy and you're doing cold approach, you want to go be able to do this for night game reasons. I just wanted to be able to do this for social reasons too. I wanted to, whenever I got to a new city, I didn't know anyone. And when you're backpacking and traveling around, you can sometimes end up in spots where you just don't have, the hostels are empty, you haven't really found anyone who wants to go out, and you kind of just have to suck it up and walk down the bar strip on your own and try and chat to people and try and meet people. This is really fun in Vegas, specifically. I had so much fun. There are some cities, like New Orleans is like this as well. A few cities where it's so easy just to meet random people and chat to random people, and people are so open to it that it's so much fun just going out on your own in these places. And I would almost like not take people with me, especially in Vegas. Like in Vegas, I stay in the hotels and I just walk around the hotel bars and just chat to random people. It's so much fucking fun. You can mix in approaches as well. This is fine. Doing this in a city you move to is completely fine. It may feel a little bit more normal in the first few weeks, and then as you build a friend group, it becomes like less normal to do this in your mind. I found that like when you're living in a city, going out on your own I spoke to a friend about this. It's like, why is it that if we are going on a trip somewhere and you're on your own, it's so normal to go out and just be like, hey, I'm here for the weekend, I just wanted to meet people. But if you live in a city, it feels a bit more weird to be going out and doing that. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but just walk into a bar and sit at the bar and chat to people. Do that to warm up. especially when it's early and it's like not as busy. Then as it gets busier, you can start like talking to groups of people. Smoking areas are fantastic. Smoking areas are my cheat code for meeting people. You don't have to smoke, by the way. You just kind of stand outside and just chat to people who are smoking, etc., or vaping. That's like I figured this out because I was smoking, but you don't have to. You can just kind of stand outside these places and chat to people. It's a lot easier to talk because you're not inside with the loud music, etc. Yeah, I'm a real big fan of going out alone. I did a whole video on my other channel about this, and like I think it's like a superpower you can have as a guy because you're never held back by not having the friends who want to go out. You can just go out if you're feeling like going out on the night. You can just go do it. And I think there are a few guys out there who I know who are just got frustrated that no one was around, so they just went out on their own and was like, I'm gonna have a fun time, whatever, fuck it. And those fuck it moments are when you realize things aren't that scary. You can go and do this stuff. It's just a series of steps. It is putting on your outfit. It is going out of the house. It is walking to a bar. It is going into the bar. It's sitting at the bar and just starting a conversation. That's all you have to do. You have to drink. I don't drink that much. I go out, I get water, I get a Coke maybe. You can do it without drinking. You can come also with this. The beauty of it is you can like pick when you come home. That's another one. Me and my friend, we are going out like with each other to do some wingmanning and stuff. But what you can do is set times and be like, yeah, we're going to go try and get to places that are busy early and then get home before midnight so that we don't feel too fucked the next day. So you can like be a bit more disciplined about it when you go out by yourself as well. That's the other beauty of it. I think this is worth learning how to do or getting over the anxiety of doing it regardless of whether or not you're in a new city trying to make friends. But this is fantastic for that too. You go out, grab everyone's contacts. That's the thing I haven't said already, is it? You got to grab everyone's contacts. Like when you get Instagram, have your Instagram, get Instagram contacts, get numbers, whatever you need, get WhatsApp. That's all you're really doing is just farming contacts. And then you just hit the contacts up the next day or whatever. If you get so many contacts you don't know what to do, you just prioritize certain people and the others will drop off because people don't tend to like harass you or whatever if you just don't respond to them. So you basically just prioritize the contacts you think are cool, that you got on with really well, and you pitch meeting up again. I should have put this at the beginning. The whole goal here is to get a contact and then just pitch up doing stuff in the future. Like get a drink with them, hang out with them, bring other people together, bring people you think would vibe well together, that sort of thing. That's always helpful. Next to this as well, like you going out on your own is one thing. Going out in the daytime and just striking up random conversations with people is something I do as well. It's something that Andy does really well. Like when I first went out with Andy, he just fucking talks to everybody. And when you talk to everybody, you make a lot of friends. Like you just do. You make so many friends. Talk to like people who work. Like just because they're working at a bar or a cafe nearby doesn't mean they can't be your friend. Like because they're doing a professional whatever, it doesn't mean anything. If you go in there every single day and you're just chatting to people, they become your friends. Like I made friends with all of the people who worked at my local coffee shop in Vancouver. One of them, I had all their Instagrams. We hung out outside of them when they were working there as well. You can just make friends with these people who are, working in the area around you. The other thing with going out alone and striking up random conversations in the daytime is using what we think is a bit of a cheat code, which is telling them you're new. Tell people that you're new to the area. If you're the new guy, everyone is so much nicer to you. If you're just like, hey, I'm new, and I don't know what I'm doing in this city. Can you help me figure it out? They're so much nicer to you. They're so much more invested in you. You can be new to a city for like 3 months, I'd say. There's still tons in Montreal I have no fucking idea about. And I'm always asking people like, yo, what are the spots? Like, where do I go? Because people have been here their whole lives. And to them, I will be new forever. If I stayed here forever, I'd still be new to them, because they've been here forever. So it's really easy to play the I'm new card, telling everyone you're the new guy. As you're striking up these conversations. You can start the conversations with this. Hey, I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing in the city. I don't know how to have a fun time tonight. Where do I go? Show me. Where are the best museums? Where are the best sites in the city? Where should I hang out for lunch? That kind of stuff. You just strike up random conversations. Strike up random conversations. I want to encourage more guys. I know for like introverted and anxious guys, it's quite a bit more difficult. But, everyone you strike up is a win that day. Like if you're an anxious person, if you're an introverted person, you have a lot of social energy, every conversation that you strike up is a massive win that Andy and I would fucking celebrate to the rafters for you. So yeah, that would be my advice there. Circle back to like how you form this stuff into like friendships. It really is just a case of like similar to dating, you just follow up. I think a lot of guys just let this stuff drop. They don't follow up. Follow up is so important in business as well, I'm finding, but also just like in social and dating world. You have to people will forget about you. People have very busy lives. If you meet someone, you think they're fucking cool, text them, hey, I thought you were really cool. Let's hang out. Just do that. and then follow up if they don't. If they respond, that's cool. And then you follow up and you sort something out and you hang out. The other thing to do is connecting people you think would be cool together and having more of a group situation, especially around specific interests. Like I talked about UFC fight night. So I met some guys who didn't know each other who were all interested in UFC. We found out like separately that we all loved watching UFC. So I ended up building a group to watch UFC fight nights by just saying, hey, you like UFC, let's all get together. We got some drinks, we got the tables, everyone became a firm, solid friend group. And it was just built around that one interest. So you build around guys you think maybe vibe with each other, but it's easier just to spot common interests and then build a group around a common interest. You become something of like, this is how you become like a leader of men, I guess, is the way I do it. And all you have to do is really organize people to get together. It's not that difficult. And lots of guys fantasize about being like, the alpha or the king of the social group. It's like, okay, if you're the guy that kind of pulls everyone together and organizes it, then you are kind of that guy. You're the guy that everyone looks to, the guy that everyone knows. So that's what I would recommend as like follow up to when you're sourcing these social leads is you just follow up. You just tell them you think they're cool. You think we should hang out, pitch something fun to do. In Montreal, everyone likes to go to parks and drink. It's not really my thing, but I'm a bit older, so I would go to bars and get some whiskey, hang out and watch sports games. Yeah, it's really easy. If you have a nice place, you can have people around, have like a little party, put some music on, just drink. Everyone's pretty happy with that. Throw a movie on. It's like a date. It's so similar to dating. We just don't have sex with them. It's really that simple. I think maybe people get in their heads. Maybe people get in their heads a little bit about socializing. Like it's not the most complicated like situation in the world to figure out. Especially if you put the work in to yourself, like that we recommend, like you dress pretty well, you're confident with girls, you maybe have like goals in your life. Especially if you have like goals in your life, you're fit, you work out, you're like excited about your future. People are going to gravitate quite a lot towards that. People are going to find you quite interesting more than you think they will. And it's just about being open to forming those connections. As I said, following up. Don't rely on other people to do it for you. I want you to have a more active approach to this and a more organized approach to this. So you're not just hoping people will keep talking to you. Most of the people I hang out with, I have to message. I have to ring up and be like, hey, let's do something. I'm the active one. I'm the proactive one. And being the proactive one actually wins you quite a lot of friends. Because then they kind of rely on you to be their social circle, to be their the person who they hang out with. And that's fine. I don't mind taking that role because I like being proactive and having the control in my life like that. So that's what I would recommend you guys do. Source the leads however you want, source the contacts, whether that's in person or online, or you do my hostel trick, and then follow up and build on those connections and be proactive about it. The more proactive you are, the better your social life will be. All right, that was a fun video to talk about. Peace out till next time.
How long are you going to wait before you demand the best of yourself? These guys didn't wait. They joined my coaching program and gave themselves the life that they've been dreaming of. Taylor had a threesome, tons of sex, learned to be honest with his intimate partners, and fully embraced a more peaceful, happy, and loving mindset. Laz more than doubled his income from $25K to $45K a month, as well as having more sex than he could handle, all while fully embracing honesty and authenticity. Corky learned to love himself instead of always beating himself up. Oh, and he had a threesome, sex with 7 women, and started his own business. Want to do what they've done? Join our coaching program, and I and the other coaches will pour our heart and soul into giving you the life that you've dreamed of. No more waiting. Now is the right time. Link in the description below.